Hi guys, today's video is probably my most prepared video in a long time, and it's not even that much prep. I've just swatched everything in advance and I've got the names of everything. I know some prices and stuff. Normally I just literally set the camera up in front of me and start talking. So slightly more preparation, so there might be slightly more edits in this one because I have to kind of go between things. But it is going to be my MAC palette collection. This is something that a while ago was quite a popular video to make. I don't think I ever actually made one, and I kind of put it off thinking, oh well, I'll wait until I feel like I've completed it, but it's never going to be complete, is it? So we're just going to get into what I have right now. And first of all, I want to talk about the palettes themselves. So I have the majority of what is available. This is the 15 palette, which I think has probably been the most popular on YouTube over the years. They used to have one that was much flimsier, didn't have a see-through lid. This is way, way better. And they also do one that's twice this size, which doesn't work for me, but it might work for you. I mean, to be fair, it probably would work for me in hindsight, because I don't tend to use these palettes as palettes. I tend to use these more as storage. So I could probably have one big one and then pick and choose into one of the smaller palettes. So, you know, if it ended up being the right choice for you, I think, let me just double check. They might end up being the same price. I know that these are £8. Then the quads are £5, and these used to be the go-to for people to either use in their makeup bag, which is kind of how I used it, or on the go, or for traveling. I tended to go into these two palettes and pick the shades that I wanted to use that week or that month or that season, and pop them into here. Or I would use the ones that I felt like I wasn't using very often and put them in here, so I would maybe use them more often, because reaching for this palette is just, it's not something I'm going to do on a regular basis. But there's been a new launch. This is £5. There's been a new launch of this, which is awesome. Highly recommend. Also £5. And this is so much better because there's so many times that I've had this little quad and I've thought I could just do with adding one more shade. I mean, two of my absolute favourite shades, one is not in here right now, are Wedge and Taste Tint. And I would always have those together, and I felt like they were so similar. You probably wouldn't use them at the same time, both kind of that transitional crease kind of colour. I would probably use Taste Tint all over my lid, but not Wedge. But they were both kind of a similar feel. And then I only had two other slots available. The 6 is so much better. It's everything that I wanted in one of these little palettes, and I can't imagine myself using the quad very often unless it was for travel and I decided that I wanted to take more with than this 6, and I didn't want to take the big one. That's the only time I would probably use the quad. So this is my current selection. This is my these are the ones that I picked in my makeup shake up video, which you saw maybe yesterday, I think. See, two videos in 2 days. I'm getting back on it, guys. So these are the ones that I've picked right now. Let's see if I can remember what these are called. Let me just see what side we're on. So this is Woodwinked, Satin Taupe, Taste Tint, Coral, Paradisco, and Naked Lunch. Naked Lunch, fun fact, is one of my first ever MAC shadows. I love that. And Taste Tint is one that I took forever to try and find because I saw it on a girl in MAC, and of course I wouldn't have gone up to her and asked. Now I would just ask, but at that point I wouldn't have asked what she was wearing. And I tried so many different shadows. I tried Raw, which is really warm. I'll show you that colour. It's a really warm orangey colour. This is the colour I thought she was wearing. There was also something called Brick I was going to buy. I was convinced it was something really quite bright, and in actual fact it was just a warm brown. But it looks, I mean, I'll pop up some swatches as we go. I mean, it just doesn't look that warm in that swatch, but I swear on her eyelids it looked so warm, like almost orangey. I think maybe on my hand it looks more warm. It was so orangey, and I just loved it. It's still one of my absolute favourites. And Naked Lunch has got that beautiful, just sheeny, it's one of those things that I could definitely end up using as a highlight, because it's just not too shimmery. It is exactly what I look for in a highlight, that slight sheen. I don't know if it's going to pick up because it's just so pale. But it's not too bright. It's the perfect kind of highlighty colour for me. I don't like anything too bright or too intense. So those are the shadows that I've been using at the moment, or I will be using, and some of my favourites. Then I have my colour palette. This is going to be a little bit more difficult, so I've got a little cheat sheet on my pre-done swatches. Let me get this out, so if I get stuck I have a little cheat sheet. So let's see. Sushi Flower, Stars and Rockets, Tracks, Nocturnal, Cranberry, Blackberry, Freshwater, Plumage, Deep Truth. This, again a bit of a cheat because it's not actually MAC at all, is actually from Urban Decay and it's called Shattered. There is one very, very similar. Oh my goodness, what's it called? I have the single, but I've not depotted it because it's identical nearly to this. I can't remember what it's called, but there's a very, very similar, it's a very pale blue shimmery with a golden tone running through it from MAC. It might come to me, but anyway, that is actually Urban Decay Shattered. That is another one from Urban Decay. If you can see, it's kind of mangled when I try to get it out of the pan. That is ABC Gum. It's just kind of almost a foundation-y colour. It looks like nothing. I'm going to put the swatches up on the screen, but you won't even be able to see that because it is almost exactly the same colour as my skin when you blend it in. It's like there somewhere. But for me, that's perfect because if I wanted to do something where I was maybe blending here, because again, I don't like that really harsh, especially on the brow, but that harsh highlight. If I wanted to blend out something where I've gone too dark or I've gone crazy with my eyeshadow, because I'm really not particularly skilled in the eyeshadow department, then that's perfect for just that section there for me. I loved that for a long time. I didn't do a tremendous amount of very, not crazy, but experimental, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. I don't really do much eyeshadow wise. I've been really into a one colour on my lid recently, but that was really good when I did. And if I did. That one is Sumptuous Olive, that is Roll, and that one is Contrast. So the swatches I'm putting up on the screen are going to be in kind of colour families rather than in the order that I've done them. But that is my more colourful palette. I know that doesn't really fit in with that, but I actually can't get it out of there. It is wedged in. Then I've got my neutrals, which are here. In fact, we can probably close up a little bit because I have got one line missing. So let me just get my cheat sheet ready for these ones. These ones are, starting with the palest, again, this is one I probably wouldn't wear very often. Really like it for the inner corners, but I don't do inner corner shadow very much because it doesn't last very long. This is Dazzle Light, Jest, Bold and Brazen, Wedge, one of my favourites, Espresso and Carbon, not a massive fan of because I don't think that there's a tremendous amount of colour payoff. It may be the ones that I've got, but I just don't find them to be particularly great matte shadows. This is Mulch, this is Swiss Chocolate, this is Bronze, and this is Be Rich, and Tempting and Antiqued. I would say the very, very warm browns I use the absolute least, but as, oh, what did I just drop on the floor? Tempting. I think the Swiss Chocolate was not, yeah, that's not a bad matte. But I don't feel like matte do matte eyeshadows very well. Even the black, I'm sure there are other ones and maybe I need to try them again because I've had them for a long time now, some of these ones, but it's not what I would necessarily say they are really, really good at. Urban Decay tend to be my absolute favourites when it comes to eyeshadows. Also really, really like Lorac and The Barn, fantastic. Is it Lorac? Yes, Lorac with the yes. I love the Lorac Pro palette that I have, and yeah, The Balm was fantastic. But Urban Decay still kind of has my heart when it comes to eyeshadows. But there are some colours from MAC that I go back to time and time again, and certain formulas and certain colours I just cannot dupe anywhere else, which is kind of annoying. Although I think Smog from Urban Decay and Sin still are kind of up there. I might have to do like top 10 favourite single eyeshadows. That would be a really difficult decision. I would be like, oh, Sophie's Choice, I don't know. But when it comes to MAC, I would probably say Naked Lunch, Tatar Tint and Wedge are up there, and I can't really think of any of the other shadows that I love. Oh, Sumptuous Olive. Is that the name of it, Sumptuous Olive? Because that's what I've called it and everything, and it just doesn't sound right. Let me see. Is it Sumptuous Olive? You know when you hear something so often it starts to sound wrong, and maybe Cranberry. But there's not a tremendous amount that I'm like, wow, I'm absolutely in love with this. I am wearing Woodwink today for the first time, this kind of goldeny bronze. And I do quite like satin taupe, but not as much as other people have told me I will. But if you've got any suggestions or recommendations for singles that I may want to try, please let me know, because I feel like I am not using my eyeshadows enough. And over the course of the next month, I have decided to wear eyeshadow every single day. Even just kind of one eyeshadow on the lid, just to get a real idea of what that colour is like. And I'm going to wear more colour, and I'm just generally a little bit more excited about makeup again. I mentioned this in a vlog, I don't know if I mentioned it in one of these videos on this channel, but I think I just totally overdosed on makeup in the past year or so, and I just completely fell out of love with it. I wasn't interested in it anymore, I wasn't excited about it, which is probably part of the reason that I lost my enthusiasm for making these videos. But in the last week or so, something has ignited again, and I am really, really into it, and I have a wish list as long as my arm of things that I want to try. So if you want to add to that, go ahead. I will leave a link below with a blog post with all of the swatches that I've shown throughout the video if you want to see them a little bit more up close, or, you know, non-moving. But hopefully this has been useful for those of you that maybe wanted to see the ones that I have, or some swatches, I don't know. This is kind of an old school kind of video. But I'm feeling the old school vibes right now. I'm kind of going back and going, what did I used to really enjoy watching? And this is definitely one of those videos. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later in the week with another one.